guys, this is your warning. We do post up spoilers. At times we're relatively offensive. We use vulgar language. So if you think that any of those are gonna offend you in any way, shape, or form, take your step back right now. Because, buddy, this is not the place for you. Anywho, have fun listening to us. And, yeah, this has been your final warning.
All right, welcome once again, all of you friends, families, freaks, and felines. Cats, if you're listening, meow. We are here for another Cinematic Anarchy podcast. This time we are discussing Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Bum, bum, bum.
And over here to my left, giving us the musical over here is my man Zeph.
I'm not really good with sound effects, but nice to talk to all you guys again. You'll get my random and all that bullshit.
Yeah, well, your bullshit is more than welcome. And I'm thankful to have him back kind of full-time on the podcast. He was MIA for a little while, working 40 miles away, 2 trains.
Hey, listen, a working man is a strong man, and I am a strong man, but fuck that place. It was way too far away.
And in your case, a working man is a missing man.
And a missing man. I definitely recommend Anthony's Pier, though. Definitely, if you're ever in Swampscott, Massachusetts, check it out. High-end seafood restaurant, you'll love it. But other than that...
Okay, so again, we are going to be discussing Hell Comes to Frogtown, a fantastic 1988 low-budget film directed by Donald G. Jackson, R.T. Kaiser, and written by Donald G. Jackson and Randall Frakes. This is also stars one of my favorite B-movie actors and one of my favorite wrestlers, one of the biggest villains of all time in WWE, Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper. Little... No applause? Okay. You're not clapping along with me.
He's a villain.
Well, he was a villain there. He was a wise ass here. He was fantastic in this movie. And then we have Sandal Bergman. She was Spangle. We have Cece Varell as Sentinella, as you were... Citronella Candle, yes. We have a Citronella Candle played by a very beautiful woman. And then we have...
She gets naked.
The only nudity in the entire film. The only... Outside of the pointy frog boobies.
Yeah.
Outside of that, pointy frog boobies.
Pointy frog boobies.
I could have made that sound a little less childish, but what the fuck ever. Okay. And then we have the main villain, outside of Captain Toady, is played by William Smith, a.k.a. Captain Devlin, and Captain Sodom, otherwise known as Bend Over and I'm going to shove the bottle here. Which was how our movie opened, really. So, just first impressions of the film before we get into describing or discussing the film.
What a weird fucking film. If you really want my honest opinion, what a weird fucking film.
I'd say Mad Max meets Battletoads.
What can you compare it to? There's no real comparison. I mean, it's its own movie.
That's my comparison. That's the only comparison I have, is Mad Max meets Battletoads.
Yeah, and it's... I mean, I always love the movies with the post-apocalyptic theme. You know, I'm waiting for our, apocalypse,
It's, not so teenage, mutant, no ninja skills frog boys.
Yeah, I know.
Which is very hard to roll off the
They are
tongue.
very strong.
Apparently, yeah. Those frogs were, beating the crap out of Sam Hell.
One punch... bleeding.
That's why he resorted to weaponry.
Yeah.
It's like, we need to put some distance between me and the frogs. Every time they hit me, I bleed.
Yeah. Get my ass whooped.
So our movie opened with Captain Devlin, and I'm not sure what the name of the main officer was that was interrogating him.
I believe I have that.
I'm not sure if it was Spangle.
No, Spangle was there, but there was another woman that was involved.
Well, it was a med tech woman. Kind of looked a little like you imagine the leader of the Suicide Squad was supposed to be, but whatever.
Yeah, and I never wrote her name down. She's not that relevant.
She's not really relevant outside of the first couple minutes of the movie. And they are interrogating Roddy Piper, who has been arrested for sexual assault. So initially you hear sexual assault, you're thinking, oh my god, okay,
rapist.
So he's playing a rapist. He's not. What it was William Smith, Captain Devlin's daughter, had relations with
With him.
With him, and when they found out that she was pregnant, she changed her mind about the whole thing. She's like, nope, we're going to charge him with sexual assault. She didn't want to get pregnant. She didn't realize he was fertile.
Yeah. Well, no, she changed her mind when she found out she was pregnant.
Right.
Initially, she was charging him for the sexual assault, I think because he's just a free man, they slept together and he left, which is very wrong, and it's something that needs to be addressed nowadays. Is the women claiming rape thing, all right? That needs to get rid of it.
Well,
Gonzo.
There's yay and nay there. There's sometimes they're not claiming, and sometimes they are. But
if you claim it and it didn't happen, you deserve to go to jail.
I know a lot of column A to call it. Some column A, some column B. We're not even getting there with this. This is
it's relevant to the story, sir.
It's relevant to the story, but it's not relevant. At the time, not as big a deal as they made. There was a lot of things that happened in this movie that right now, no bueno.
Yeah, this is my sugar-honeyed iced tea. This is my shit.
Halfway through the movie, they drug a girl so he can get her pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of no bueno in this. That being said, for a movie taken out of context from the 1980s, this seemed like a bit of fun. There's a whole bunch of things here. Frogs kidnapping a harem of women. That's a no bueno, right?
I mean, kidnapping, whatever.
Anyway, so we have a fantastic cast in this movie through and through. I absolutely love Roddy Piper. Sandal Bergman has been in some of my favorite B movies. Mm-hmm. She was in Conan.
I feel like she was the epitome of skinny girl back then. That's what they wanted women to feel like they should look like. She was
like the upper end of that, though. She's very, very slender. She had an elegant look to her. Not so much. Not so much the regular B-movie cannon fodder. You know what I mean? There's a lot of regular, big-haired B-movie cannon fodder that you see in movie after movie after movie, and she was actually in a select few movies, and you're dropping pens all over the place. Okay. So, I really liked her. C.C. Varell didn't have a lot to say in the movie. Outside of that one scene.
I've heard your reputation. Give me that dick.
Yeah. That one scene is, how does this work? How did this work? There's a flap. Bing! And then they're trying to go to it until, of course, Spangle comes out and says, Corporal, your clothes are off. Please put it back on.
You're out of uniform.
You're out of uniform. We've jumped way ahead of the movie, by the way.
Yeah, just about. We skipped over the whole beginning. So essentially, being one of the only fertile males in this post-apocalyptic world, he is now sanctioned by the government to impregnate fertile women.
He was not initially sanctioned, so they captured him and they gave him an option. Say, look, we're going to put this thing on you, and you're going to sign a contract. And after he signs the contract, because they say he's a fertile male and they want him to sign a contract so he can impregnate women, he doesn't realize he signed a contract to keep this cod piece on.
Yeah.
You're going to keep that on. That only opens when you're ready to knock somebody up. That's their rule there. And it's like, well, when does this come off? It doesn't. This thing does not come off. You signed a contract. Well, that's a little sneaky. You didn't tell me what the contract involved, and it's not like you read it.
Right. He was just like, get me out of jail, or feed me to this man who wants me dead because I impregnated his daughter.
Oh, this is a get out of jail free card, and, well, I didn't realize what it involved, and thank you for informing me afterwards. And I love how they advise him that there's an explosive. So there's a proximity sensor and an explosive and a tracking device all within this thing that are controlled by left and right clip-on pearl earrings on Sandel. Sorry, and in this movie she's called Spangle. Sandel's her actual name. And they advise him that basically you get too far, it's going to be beep, 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 boom goes your junk.
Yeah. Or I push this button and you get... It's pretty much as if you get bit by a bullet ant in the dick.
Right, so yeah, she presses one and
So it doesn't damage the government property, it just hurts like hell.
Yeah, it's like a joy buzzer to the dick.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to shake your hand. Okay, that wasn't my hand,
worst
fuck you.
Hand job ever.
Hand job with a joy buzzer, that's gotta fucking suck.
Yeah, interesting. Anybody got a joy buzzer? Don't try this at home.
Or
try it at home and let us know, because...
Tell us, yeah, hey, go ahead. Drop us a line at Anchor where you can leave us messages. We have yet to receive one single message. But sooner or later, hey, somebody's going to go ahead and pop on Anchor. And I'm telling you guys here on Facebook, too. Hop on Anchor, leave us a message. We may even play it on the podcast. But leave us a message. Tell us what a Joy Buzzer hand job feels like, because I'm not going to do it.
This could be a new like college trend, you know. Just walk up and Joy Buzzer your friend in the dick.
We can do it for charity. It'll be like the next ice challenge, ice bucket challenge. Next planking. Please don't take us out. We don't want a Tide Pod incident here.
Well, I mean, no, there's no chemicals involved. I mean,
no chemical. It could be some serious damage, though. You don't know what a Joy Buzzer's going to do down there.
Do at your own discretion.
Yes, jerk off with a Joy Buzzer at your own discretion. It is at your own peril. We at Cinematic Anarchy request that you do not actually listen to us and do this. Do it. Do it now. Do it now.
Definitely listen to us.
Definitely do it. I mean, don't do it. Yes, definitely. All right. So now that I'm done mumbling to myself. Yeah, but I like how they basically falsely advise him that this cod piece could essentially blow his dick to kingdom come.
Well, they don't lie about that.
No, they do lie about that. If you don't remember, nearing the end of the... Oh, no, that is correct. You're right. Wow, I forgot. When Bull cuts off the cod piece and he's like, ha, 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 they lied to you. Wow, they fucking lied to me. And then the thing blows up and kills Bull.
The end of Bull. With the smallest explosion ever.
Yep, just boom, like big puff of dust, and he's dead.
It's like he flashed a light at a frog.
Well, I don't understand how he died either. It's not like there were frog bits everywhere. It was a concussion blast, and he died?
Yeah, it would have definitely destroyed his junk.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that would have destroyed his junk, but not much else.
Yeah, there wasn't like, like 4 bricks of C4 strapped to his dick, you know?
No, at best, it was like an M80.
Yeah, it was enough to mangle it and make it useless, but...
And it would have been in like a confined area pressed against him too, so that could have done some damage.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have killed him.
Because when Bull was holding it, he was just kind of holding it midair. Ha ha,
right in front of his
you
face.
know.
Like, oh yeah,
well,
this was just up against your junk. Ha 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 ha. Let me put it within 3 inches of my face.
He was taking a sniff.
It must have been.
It's like a kink for frogs. They smell a little bit of crotch sweat. They're like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
Do you speak for the whole frog kingdom?
I speak for every single one of them.
All right.
A little bit of crotch sniffing.
Yeah, we're gonna get some like toads picketing outside the house, but
angry toad hate mail. Fuck, I hate that stuff. A little slimy. All right. That being said, so we're moving on. Let's see, where were we? We were actually at about that point. They find he after his first attempted escape. When they advise him.
Well, at this point, they bring him, before he tries to escape, they bring him on, they let him know that he's going on a mission where he has to enter Frogtown and save several women that have been kidnapped.
Fertile
women.
That's the quote, the big quote right there.
Who have been kidnapped by someone in Frogtown.
Commander Toady.
And Commander Toady is the big bad.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be the big bad in the movie. It turns out the big bad is not him.
I mean, he still is. I mean, two different factions.
The big bad, and mind you, Captain Devlin being what was this? Count Sodom was definitely the most predictable part of the entire movie. It's like we knew. It's like, who's Count Sodom? Who just vowed revenge at the beginning of the movie? Who vowed revenge when they tried to cross the border? By the way, the border gate. What the fuck was that?
We need a wall!
There's no wall anywhere around. There's like this the old photo mat in the middle of nowhere with 2 guys in a chair and a couple of shotguns.
Yeah.
And Captain Devlin, who apparently that's his station. I mean, I can tell why he wanted to garrote the guy.
Yeah, he ended up getting demoted. He had to leave like his nice cushy military job to be now Border Patrol.
This isn't even Border Patrol. What border was that?
All right, Road Patrol.
Yeah, at best. This was a
post-apocalyptic toll booth.
Toll booth, yeah. It's like, we need government papers. Why? So you don't have to pay the toll. This is how you get in free. Otherwise, give me a buck and go.
All right, like, come on, get out of here.
No. But,
which he initially, once they meet up with him, he's ready to kill him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to get, like, I could kill you right here, right now, and just say that the frogs got you.
And Sentinella gets a drop on the two guys with the shotguns. He's like, these two guys are going to kill you. Not if I don't. He goes, not before I shoot you. You want to see?
No, you're fucking right. Damn it.
And of course, Devlin's like, well, I'm not going to end my own life just to kill you. So you guys go, and I'm going to crumple up your border pass and throw it at you. And I don't know where he threw it. I thought he threw it on the ground. He might have thrown it in the car, but it went nowhere.
No. Fuck you.
This is my pass from one end of the border to the next. You just crumpling that up so I can't come back? Fine, fuck you. We'll stay in Frogtown. Whatever.
I mean, Frogtown. All right. So initially, when I heard Frogtown, I thought it was more closed off. Like they would have to sneak in there, which that's not the case. They're just humans are disliked, but they still coincide.
Frogtown seems to be it just seems to be a hollowed out old factory.
Yeah, well, it's just an
That's
Indian
Frogtown.
reservation is kind of what they describe it as.
Yeah, well, you can call it an Indian reservation. I'm just talking about what they drive up to. I mean, there was a busted up factory,
like the Met Stadium or something like that.
It was a post-apocalyptic coal factory, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of frogs here. A lot of frog guards. That's about it. You have your little frog bar, which far too easy to just walk into. I mean, this should have been harder to do.
Right. Now, mind you, the frogs, the reason why these beings came into being was due to the nuclear wars that we started. And, that's why they kind of dislike humans so much, is because humans are the reason why they exist. Why do humans hate them so much? Which I definitely understand. They're kind of hate for it.
We humans have a history of hating things that we create. Look at all these wonderful things we've made. They all fucking suck.
No, we have over here, it was Leroy.
Leroy, yes.
Who we end up meeting relatively early into Frogtown.
So the plan was basically him luring these people out by offering up Spangle as a slave. Basically, he's supposed to come in and barter with them and get her inside, and she's supposed to help him sneak in.
Yeah. Now, he seemed like an all-around okay guy. Initially, Roddy Piper, so Sam Hell, he's trying to pawn her off as a sex slave. And he's like, She can do whatever you want. And he's like, I don't want a sex slave.
First of all, favorite part of that whole thing where he's introducing her and he's like, she can do whatever you want, she can do this, she can do that. And then he grabs her face and shows her teeth.
Yeah, she has nice teeth. I mean,
she's got nice teeth. What?
No, it's kind of. I mean,
I guess that's got to be relevant.
You're not trying to get a blowjob from,
Well, you remember the first girl that he had to impregnate. He looks right at her and he's like, she hasn't brushed her teeth in months. Or years, I think. I'm not going to do that.
But if she had one tooth, she'd probably have
Before we get into the sale of Spangle, let me roll back to the first girl one more time. That whole incident was just weird. First, they capture her, right? Run her down like a common animal, like they were catching a gazelle or something. Then they tie her up. They friggin' hog tie her.
Yeah.
Okay. She's wiggling, she's writhing, she's not happy. Then they drug her with something like ecstasy or whatever.
Yeah, essentially ecstasy.
So that she'll want to
have sex.
So essentially they've roofied her. This is where all that no bueno comes in. This is a lot of this stuff you just don't do. So essentially at this point, there is government-sanctioned rape about to happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, he's not about it at first. But once the drug kicks in, he's like,
she's dirty, she's this, she's that. She hasn't brushed her teeth in a year. It's like, you want me to do what?
Then we have Spangle. She's like, I'm trained in the art of seduction. She starts doing a little seductive dance to turn him on, and he's into it.
It was just he may have been into it, but this was probably the worst seduction whatever. He's just looking at her I don't know if he was into it or he was just like, oh my god, you know what? Just stop, put your clothes on, take off your glasses so you don't have to see what I'm about to do.
Yeah, no. While this is also happening, the roofies are kicking in, and homegirl's laying on the ground, like, you know, giving a little moan and, like, you know, touching on her body, like, already. That was a lot sexier than,
than Spangle's routine, whatever that was.
Arm. Look into my
I have touched my arm, and now I have touched my leg, and the collar. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Me and Chris almost just held hands there.
Well, that was hand to elbow.
Hand to elbow, arm to arm.
We're in close proximity recording here, so that tends to happen. A little bit of inappropriate touching. I'll keep my hands off your junk from now on.
Yeah.
That being said,
we are about to, you know,
it's about to turn into a very different show, folks.
Our Facebook listeners over there, I don't know, we got a couple.
You know, if you're over here actually watching us live on the recording on Facebook, you know that nothing inappropriate happened. You're just looking at us like, what the fuck are you two doing? What are you guys doing?
Hey, we're just chatting it up. It seems like we got a couple of listeners over there.
So, and the first thing that Sandel does before she even gets into her little routine, she gets the girl all ready with the, you know, the ecstasy shot, and then she sits down and says, "Get to it," and breaks out a stopwatch.
To like
she's gonna time. It's like this. Yeah, this is the sexiest. I'm not exactly in the mood. This is the sexiest thing I've ever seen, and that's when she's like, oh, I know seduction techniques, and it's like, I'm just gonna do this now because I feel bad for you. Please put your clothes back on and take your glasses off. You don't need to see this.
I mean, yeah, towards the end, as time goes on, he ends up, you know, really having feelings towards her.
I think he kind of had feelings, even a little snarky. Even while he was being a little snarky, he was like, "Oh, she's kind of hot," you know.
Well, you know, she had his balls on in her purse per se.
Yes. Well, that's basically what it was. It was a testicle purse.
Yeah.
Just wrapped around your waist. That's what a chastity belt is. Mm-hmm. We're gonna keep these here. I've got the lock. You don't. You want out. You have to get out at sanctioned times. That's it. That's all you get. Little time to play.
Yeah. And you know, you have what's her face, Citronella. No, Sentinella. Who's you know, so Sam Hill has a reputation.
Right.
You know,
he's got a reputation all across the land. Everybody knows Sam Hill. Even the frog girls know Sam Hill.
Sam Hill and his dick down skills. He's been dicking them down since day one. So, you know, but you know, when they first enter Frogtown, they end up meeting Looney Tune, who's my favorite character.
Right. Now this was if you watch the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, they had an interview with Roddy Piper, and he actually said when he was doing this movie, he had no idea who Looney Tunes was. So he was just acting across from this guy and doing his job, and he said if he had actually known that he was acting across from Rory Calhoun, he would have been a lot more like, hey, wow, Rory Calhoun, wow, big fan, you know? Yeah. He had no idea. Just went about his job and just did his thing.
But you know, at this point, Rory Calhoun was older. He didn't look his pretty boy self from when he was, you know, younger.
Right, all the westerns that he used to do. He was in a lot of films.
You know, but he's
Looney Tune's fantastic.
Yeah, he's definitely hands down my favorite character for it. He sits there and he what is it? So he's like, oh, I thought you died, and he's like, I have 9 lives, and he introduces himself to Spangle, and he's like, so she's like, oh, like they call me Looney Tune because I'm the sanest person you'll ever meet. You know, like I'm so crazy, I'm the sanest person you'll ever meet. And, you know, just all around, like, you know, all right, this guy's seen some shit.
Right.
And
fun guy.
So it turns out that, you know, he pretty much, Sam Hill had nothing when he was younger.
Right.
And, you know, this guy, like, gave him a chance to really become who he became.
Right. It sounds like was an exiled soldier. Like, before the war, he was a soldier. Mm. And he just kind of turned into this guy after the war.
Yeah. I mean, they said that the shaft fell in on him or something like that.
Right.
And that, like, everybody assumed he died. So, like, he's kind of...
No, I'm talking about Sam Hill. So Sam Hill was a soldier before the war.
Well, Sam Hill was a soldier during the Great War.
Or during the war, and then after the war was... You know, the bombs dropped, he was done with that.
Yeah.
Kind of like
once his daughter died, he was completely done.
AWOL soldier.
Which, you know, he's like, yeah, my daughter, I have this necklace, and he gives it away at the end. You know,
right now... he gives it away to some woman that's stripped down buff and tried to jump his bones in the middle of the movie, which I was like, that's a little weird. Like, you're giving this necklace that your daughter gave you to some random girl that just tried to jump your bones.
Right. Who's not fertile. Like, you can't waste your semen, but waste your semen on me.
Why not give that to Spangle?
Yeah, That
doesn't make any sense, but whatever. A lot of this movie didn't make a whole lot of sense.
But with Leroy, so Looney Tune introduces them to Leroy, who's played by Cliff Bemis.
Okay.
And when he initially introduces them, Sam Hell is apt to like, all right, I'm going to sell you as a sex slave. And, this is where you kind of see that not every frog person hates people. It's obviously, same thing. Not every white person hates black people. Not every black person hates white people. Not every Asian person is racist against every other minority. Sorry.
So Leroy wanted somebody to entertain him.
Yeah, I will buy this slave, but
that seems to be a frog theme, that they want the girls to dance.
Yeah.
That's a frog theme here. So it's not just that. He's not looking for a sex slave. They've got their own frogs for that. I think that's just a frog theme. All the frogs want the girls to dance. Because, you come right in. There's a frog girl dancing on a table.
Right, and she's singing opera.
On the bar. Yeah.
Very talented for a frog woman.
And by the way, if you ever get a chance to see this movie, the frog girl was played by Christy Summers. And she's actually better known for being the blonde chick in Tomboy. I think she's been in a couple of other movies like Girls Just Want to Have Fun, so on and so forth. But as a frog girl, oh my god, kind of frightening looking. But as a real girl, not a bad looking girl at all.
Not at all.
She was like the epitome of the blonde 80s chick.
Yeah.
Way back when,
No, but then you have...
Chica. And by the way, I want to apologize outright for anybody... No, I'm going to stop apologizing. We tell people at the beginning of this podcast we can be offensive. Fuck it, I'm done apologizing. Let's just continue.
we didn't apologize to our Facebook fans.
If you're angry with me, I apologize. Write to us. CinematicAnarchy@gmail.com. Write us some hate mail. Write us some love mail.
And that is my segment, is reading your hate mail and telling you to fuck off.
Right. That's actually what we want to get into doing, is his segment eventually will be Everybody Hates Zeph. We're going to go ahead and... You send him the nastiest hate mail you can think of. He will read it aloud on the podcast, and he will respond.
Roast me, bitch. Sorry, I was looking at the Facebook people. Roast me.
Okay, hey, yeah, there you go. He wants to be roasted, roast him. And that goes for his relatives, too, if you happen to be watching. Roast the fuck out of him. Feel free. Friends, relatives, family, people we don't know. Just strangers hiding behind the screen. Roast the hell out of them.
Let's just put it this way, though. Family members, I know everything about you. Let's not fight that war. But back to the story at hand. Yes. Because my segment isn't out yet.
He tries to sell... He tries to sell Spangle to Leroy. That's when Bull comes in.
Yeah, which at this point it's a private barter, which is illegal in Frogtown.
Right.
And everybody is afraid of Bull. Bull is the second in command, essentially, or just like the military man.
Honestly, dumb as a drunk donkey.
Yeah.
That bullfrog. I don't know why anybody would be scared of him. He is a klutz. He is a moron. He doesn't even know that his fucking chainsaw's half gassed up. Whatever. Yeah. Check the gas levels before you try to cut something.
Well, they actually say he wasn't anything until he brought the girl.
He was what did they call him? A butler or something like that.
Yeah, and he was a butler, and then he ended up capturing the women.
And that's how he became the commander, or not the commander, but his captain.
Yeah, and then he got a couple ranks up, which means that
any ranks up is higher than
Commander Toady wasn't so intelligent himself.
Well, Leroy and even Arabella seem to be a hell of a lot smarter than either one of them. They seem to have been in a previous life might have been the dumb thug type. Like you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bebop and Rocksteady.
Drawing a blank.
Dumb. They were idiot humans that were turned into a basically human rhino hybrid and a human warthog hybrid, and they were both dumb as bricks. But they were both intimidating because of just their stature, what they looked like, you know? Their sheer strength, that's what intimidated people.
Yeah, which in this particular case you have, Leroy being the businessman, the calm, cool, collective bar owner.
Right.
And then you have Bull, who's just like, an asshole.
Bull in a china shop.
Yeah, and then
appropriate name.
Commander Toady, who has 3 dicks.
3-dick Toady. Whew. When we find out what the dance of the 3 snakes actually is, it's basically dance for me so my 3 snakes are erect.
So he ends up picking up. So during the private barter, he comes through and he's pretty much like, I hate humans, and Sam Helt, not knowing that it's only private barters are illegal, essentially says we're bartering over here. Now, at this point,
Leroy full well knows that private bartering is illegal.
Well, yeah, but Sam Hell didn't know that. So when he brought it up, we're bartering over here, that's when he was like, oh, fuck me. You know what I mean? Like, Leroy's like, oh, you fucking asshole. No, Leroy's getting ready to pay 50 lilies, I believe.
500 lilies.
500 lilies?
Yeah, it was a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, he was getting ready to pay whatever the fuck lilies are.
I guess that's their it's
currency.
the frog currency, obviously. Lily pads, yeah.
So he's getting ready to pay 500 lilies. And when Bull comes over, he buys Spangle for 5.
So he doesn't buy. He basically says, we can't do this. I'm going to have an auction, and I'm bidding $5. And everybody 5 lilies, and everybody just, I don't want to bid against him,
Yeah, well, so he ends up, 5 lilies it is, which you never see the transaction happen. He just walks away with her.
I think he knock out or knock down Sam Hill.
Yeah, well,
before doing
essentially,
so.
Yeah, well, essentially he's like, no, fuck you. And he gives just a single punch to Sam Hill's gut, and he's out for the count.
Right. So this is where they first established the frog's strength. Frog super strength, being very tough.
Yeah. Now, Looney Tune's in there, and he's essentially there to... he's mining uranium.
Right. And Arabella actually is their inside girl. She was the one that was initially supposed to get her into the girls.
And, and I love you is the code word.
Right.
So she, walks up to her and to Spangle, I love you. Which, creepy, I mean...
And mind you, it is immediately... You figure out, just as we're getting through this, as she's trying to help Sam Hill, she brings him back, and he was knocked out, brings him back, and she's like... It turns out maybe she kind of does a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, I love you, I want to join...
She said, I love you initially to Spangle.
Right.
And then she said, I love you again to him.
And then she said it again while they were back there.
Yeah. And
the code word. Nope, that's not what we're talking about here.
She's like, we've all heard about you, Sam Hell.
You're reading the little frog legs?
So he ends up putting a bag over her head.
Oh, right. He convinces her that the only way he's going to do anything with her is we're gonna put a burlap sack over your head, and she's like crossing her legs and sitting back waiting for him or whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's just a little kink of mine, and he's
like slowly backing out,
and he runs for it. She ends up helping him anyway, even though he ran for it.
Yeah, I mean, interspecies,
right.
The frogs are into it, but not so much the people.
But he ends up eventually getting captured by Bull again, who ties him up.
And finds out that he is... Well, his thing starts going off, and that's why he starts running away.
Right.
Because she's so far away. Once he reaches a certain distance away from Spangle, his junk might blow up.
Right.
So that's when she gives him... He's like, I gotta go, my junk is gonna blow. And she's here's the shortest way to get to that area. And that's when he ends up getting captured.
Right, so he finds his way over to where they are, and he's actually standing above on a platform when there's the initial interaction between Commander Toady and Count Sodom. He's basically providing them weaponry in a crate.
Which is illegal for...
illegal arms deals, yeah.
Well, it's illegal for frogs to own weapons.
Right. So, something happens. He ends up falling off the platform, crashes through the thing, out like a light. Yeah. And the next thing he knows, he wakes up tied up, and Bull is coming at him with a chainsaw.
Looney Tune and Arabella are like, Like, she's like, oh, what can we do to help him? And Looney Tune is like, right now? Nothing. Like, sorry. You're fucked.
Ain't anything we can do for him. He's going to have to figure this out himself.
Yeah. So, essentially, though, you know, at this point, when he's all tied up, you know, we have Spangle getting turned on in the back room by the 5 pacifists.
Right, the pacifists. I thought it was 7 pacifists.
Yeah, one of them ran away, and...
No, well, 6, I guess, at this point. And so they're doing the veils. They're basically, we're awakening your body. Which I don't know how that works, but...
It's a sensual thing.
They probably found her drugs. Plugged her in the butt, and then they just pretended, we're going to wipe these veils on you, and your body is going to awaken. Don't mind the drugs.
So she ends up... So he's tied up, and he's kind of talking shit to Bull. And Bull's noticed his whatever the med something...
The med tech cod piece.
The med tech chastity belt. And he's like, pretty much Sam's like, no, like, if you try and take it off, like, it's gonna, my junk's gonna explode.
He's like, silly human, they lied to you.
Well, no, essentially, like, he's like, whatever, I don't care. Like, it's your junk, not mine. And he, as this is happening, he's like, no, like, don't cut it off. Like, I want to keep my shit. Like, don't do it. And while this is happening, the veil rubs up against her earring.
Right, and zaps him.
And starts just zapping his dick.
Zaps his dick, and that's one of my favorite lines in the entire movie. Bull looks right at him and goes, you know what? You're one weird dude.
Right, because he's like in so much pain. He's like, cut it off! Just cut it off! Just cut it off! You know, like, I'm fine. Because at that point, you don't know how excruciating that pain is. And he even said in his interview, he's like, I didn't know how to react for that situation. And I guess I did a decent part on, like, doing it, you know?
So fast forwarding just a little bit. We already talked about this part. Basically, you know, he gets the cod piece off. He laughs, ha ha ha, they lied to you, blows up in his face. He's apparently dead after an Amati explosion near his head. Because that was not C4 by any stretch of the imagination.
Right, it was like an electrical fire for 2 seconds.
Even a small amount would have caused a much larger explosion.
Maybe it just like scared him.
Yeah,
he gave him a heart attack.
Fucking firecracker at best. So he escapes again.
Yeah.
And
at this point, it's time for Spangle to do the.
So Spangle is brought before Commander Toady for
the snake, the
Dance of the Three Snakes.
Dance of the Three Snakes.
I put you on the spot, and you're like All right. So it's the Dance of the Three Snakes, and she's like, "Well, what? I want you to do the Dance of the Three Snakes." So there's no explanation of what you're supposed to do. She just like, okay, so I'm going to start dancing, and the dance it starts off like. She's like the most awkward white kid alone at the dance in the corner. Yeah. You know, and it starts off like the most ungraceful thing you've ever seen, and then slowly gets into sort of a more ballet kind of movement.
Because, you know, at that point, she remembers what one of the girls said to her. The girl says, like, just remember this feeling, and you might survive the Dance of the Three Snakes. And nobody explained to her what the three snakes actually were. Right, so you're watching the. They really know.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody that's survived. I don't think anybody's actually survived. I think that the only people that are back there are people that haven't experienced this yet.
They just like, hey, the Dance of the Three Snakes.
So basically, what you see is Commander Toady sitting there watching Spangle dancing around.
Raja Nabadua Gula Wookie Nipple Pinchy.
Okay, Jabba.
Which is a Family Guy reference, but yeah.
So she's dancing around. He's getting aroused. That is when you get to see the animatronic 3 penises going under his tunic.
Yes, it is time.
And first of all, when he gets up and he says, "Yes, it is time for you to meet the 3 snakes," he lifts his tunic, which you don't see anything.
No.
You just see her look. First, it's looking at it what we think she's supposed to be looking at dead on, and then she looks at 2 points on camera that had to have been like 20 feet apart apiece. And I'm like, how big are these things supposed to be? Like, are these snakes or are these anacondas? Like, One's way over here, one's way over here, one's way over here.
But is a snake not an anaconda?
You should have respectively heard thump, thump, thump.
Yeah.
There should have been a sound effect to go along with that.
He was aroused.
So he was aroused. Where she was looking, you should have heard something hit something. They could have hit together.
Did he have? Apparently, he had 6 pairs of testicles.
Apparently,
3 pairs of testicles.
Because she was trying to convince him to let her dance some more, and she goes, "I got a dance I want to show you." He goes, "What's that?" And she kicks him in the dick 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Assuming that 1, 2, 3.
No, it's not the dick that hurts when you get kicked. It is the balls.
Yes.
It is 100% the balls.
So we're assuming that he had 6 testicles.
Right. She gave him 3 separate kicks in 3 separate locations.
He could have had 30 testicles for all we know. 3 dicks is weird.
Right. I mean, these are frog people.
They're mutated. I mean, maybe that didn't stop there. Maybe he was the next level up.
Maybe Leroy had 2 dicks, and that's why he wasn't the leader.
Right. Bull only had 1. That's why he was a butler.
Yeah.
You are kind of leveled up depending upon your genitalia in the frog world, apparently.
4 dicks.
God damn it, Toady, you're out.
You're not his butler.
So she basically boots him 3 times and runs for it. Yeah. There's a whole quick scene here where they basically gather everybody. They gather the 6 remaining pacifists. They gather up Rory, who ends up getting shot in the escape. Oh, no. Did he get shot in the escape, or did he get... Yeah.
He must have fallen or something. I don't think he got shot.
On the back of his head. The back of the head.
Yeah, like he hit his head. But he's busting around with a flare gun.
And then it's Sentinella to the rescue, basically.
Yeah, once the flare goes off, she's like, yeah, it's game time.
Right. So Sentinella gathers them up, and there's a chase scene. Basically, they're chasing them down. Sentinella's trying to mow them down with the guns. She gets shot.
Yeah, nicked in the arm.
And they end up getting cornered in the area, basically. Now, first of all, this cannon that's shooting at them, we're not going to get these kind of explosions. It's... that being besides the point. One explosion stops them dead, and they have to face these guys straight on. And basically, it all ends with Commander Toady and him heading up into the mountains and going after each other.
Well, Toady comes after, doesn't he?
Huh?
Toady comes after Captain Sodom.
Does he?
Yeah, because they're still off in the distance. And when they stop, they come out, they're getting ready to go fight, and Sodom comes out with a rocket launcher.
That is correct. Okay, so he goes after Captain Sodom after he basically shoots him down. He shoots him down, they think that he's done, and that's when the Toady comes along.
Well, no, because he kind of chases after him, no, I'll be back. You guys stay here.
See how confused I was about the whereabouts the end of the movie.
Because he goes, you guys stay here. I'm gonna go find him. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm gonna make sure that it's done and over with. He goes over, he sees them laying down, even though he just threw a katana through him.
Right. So I mean, he didn't just throw it into him; it pierced him. I went in
one
and
side
out.
or the other. Even if you missed all the vitals, I'm sorry, you're not talking.
You're not getting up and crawling away, let alone what he did.
So he ran away. Barely, there's no blood trail, very little blood for this wound.
And this is that weird bright red paint blood. Mm. They poured it out of a paint can, not necessarily out of a guy's body.
So he ends up finding him laying down on the ground, and at that point he kind of hits him with his foot, and he's perfectly fine. He seems to be dead. And he starts to walk away, and as he gets up, he pulls the rocket launcher out. He's like, "Ah!"
So here's my problem with that scene. All right, so yeah, he pulls the rocket launcher out. Sam Hell turns around, gets to a knee, shoots him dead. My problem with that scene. First of all, he got a katana blade through and through. Gets shot once, down.
Dead.
I don't understand.
Wasn't a headshot.
No, it wasn't at all. My problem with that scene is, as Sam Hell, you find this guy, and the only thing you do to make sure that he's dead is nudge him with your foot a couple of times. You don't roll him over. Yeah. You don't check for a pulse. You just nudge him a few times. This guy is a soldier. That's not how you check to see if people are dead.
You just ran him down I'm going to make sure that this is finished. You didn't put one in the back of his head?
Right, you know? That's what I would have done. You know, you look dead, but boom, boom. Now you are dead. And then the final fight scene with Commander Toady and all the other...
Yeah. Which he gets his ass... Well, when he finally goes down to meet back up with the girls...
He gets his ass kicked.
They're no longer there.
Right.
And the vehicle that they were in was blown to shit.
Yes.
So in his head, Commander Toady killed all of them.
Right.
And he
didn't know that they escaped.
Yeah, he is pissed. And they go to fight. He's getting his ass beat. His katana does absolutely nothing. Sam Hell cannot hold on to a weapon to save his life.
It's like he lost all hand strength, just like, I have a katana. Fuck, no I don't. I have a katana. Fuck, no I don't. Right. You know? Every time that Commander Toady smacked him, I'm like, this is Roddy Piper. Don't you have a little bit more hand strength than that?
Dude, he has, like, his kicks are, like, god-awful strong, because they were super effective against him. But everything else that he threw at him, nothing.
Right.
Except for his double eye poke. Captain Thanos shows them icy. Fucking... that's the game changer right there. He does a couple of kicks. He kicks him off. And as he kicks him off, like, this large cliff, he's hanging on to him.
Right.
He's like, help me. Well, not help me, but like, I'm taking you with me, or I'm going to climb up you. And he finally gets a hold of the katana and does something with it.
Cuts his hand
because
off.
Throwing it through a person and, you know, fighting against somebody with a katana doesn't mean anything.
Right. And the eye poke didn't take him down. You'd think that would have.
Yeah. Two large eyes.
Sheer wrestling moves right there. Just right there. Eye poke. Yes.
And he ends up...
That's dirty wrestling,
cutting
asshole.
his hand off, and he falls down, and...
Right. And it didn't even look like he cut his hand off. It just looked like he took the katana blade and smacked a wet green glove. It didn't even look like the hand came off, just went with him. There you go, bye.
Well, when he was falling, he had both of his hands, but when he initially cuts it, you could see it kind of like... It did look like he at least crushed it.
Right, there should have been like that coyote moment that they have in the Looney Tunes movies where, you know... Something happens to that coyote, there's nothing underneath him anymore, and he just kind of goes, help, and then falls, you know.
Well, and mind you, where the fuck did the katana come from?
Well, I guess maybe Sam Hell had the force going with him today, you know.
When they picked up their shotguns, maybe there was a katana there too, but, excuse me.
Use the force, Roddy.
Yeah, but, you know, and then... That comes to like the scene at the end. They jump into the bad guy's vehicle, and yeah, that's pretty. The things I have to do for my country, like him and Spangle,
she's like, you still have to impregnate these women, and he's like, oh God, a soldier's duty's never done. You know,
but at this point, like him and Spangle kind of have like that love relationship. You know what I mean?
We can do something when you're done with them. Like weirdest relationship ever. By the way, I really want to jump your bones, but you know things are things, and you got to impregnate these 6 women first. Then you can do whatever you need to do with me because I'm not fertile.
Duty first.
You know, duty first, then my booty. Duty then booty.
Duty booty.
Definitely not a bros before hoes thing, but you know what we're getting at. So I think that's pretty much all we need to say about that movie.
Yeah,
that's beginning to end. So final thoughts on the movie.
I was not a big fan. I'm not gonna lie, it's not something I plan on rewatching again. Definitely gonna watch the second and the third one, which is supposed to be a standalone film.
There's 4. So there's 2 standalones. And then there's the actual sequel, which actually stars Robert Zadar, who was he was the Maniac Cop in the Maniac Cop movies. One of my favorite maniacs.
my favorite
that mandible, that jaw that he has. Wow.
My favorite is the Animaniacs.
The Animaniacs.
They are the Animaniacs.
Okay. So I would say, I mean, if we're going on a scale of 1 to 10 in regards to movies that we've seen in the past few years, okay, so it looks like Zeph's going to go ahead and give it a 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little bit more forgiving. I'd say a 5.5. It was definitely entertaining. I enjoyed watching the movie even after I've seen it before. I watched it once on Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In Theater. That being said, It's about 5.5. It's definitely not the worst we've seen. Definitely not anywhere near the best we've seen of all the B movies we've watched. I'd say it's just a bit above middle of the road. You're thinking just a bit below middle of the road.
Yeah.
Though I mean, I'll be honest. The worst movie that we've ever seen, I enjoyed more. I enjoyed watching Hobgoblins more than this.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we didn't give Hobgoblins a rating.
Yeah, we didn't get to give Hobgoblins a rating. We'll do that some other time. We'll think about that, because, I mean, I enjoyed that a little bit more than this.
Yeah, I mean, that was more like...
It was out... They knew they were being goofy. This one actually tried to be serious and goofy at the same time. It tried to be something it really wasn't. They should have just gone straight up comedy and...
You know, there was a couple parts that I liked, I'm not going to lie. But like I said, it's not something I'm going to watch again. I am going to watch the sequels so that we could do, additional, commentary on this. Obviously, we'll have more podcasts regarding it.
Right.
We can group all those together, but...
I would definitely watch all three together and just do one.
Yeah. I don't know if I can squeeze all those together in one day, but...
So we're going to go ahead and go to our sponsor, and then we will be back in just a moment for the second and third parts of our podcast. All right, so thank you for sitting here through our sponsors, and as always, or not as always, since the last podcast, we are going to use our middle segment of the port... That's me tripping over my tongue. Happens at least once a podcast.
Once upon a podcast.
So we're going to use the middle portion of our podcast. Both of our fellow delinquents are not here today. Omar is going to be sending in his segment as a recorded segment. And we have actually on the line Miss B, who's going to join us via speakerphone.
Hello.
And she's going to go ahead and provide us the rant today. So here, with her segment, is Tea with Honey.
All right, so welcome back to Tea Time with Honey. So this week we're ranting about the bans on vaping in Massachusetts. So just recently, Governor Charlie Baker put a full-on ban on vaping products in Massachusetts. And I think this is, like, insanely bullshit just because, one, it displays a blatant, obvious ability to provide swift and successful judgment and fucking... I don't even know, like, how to describe it. It shows us that we can make a swift and decisive solution for incidents that are affecting us as a community, and it's being used in the wrong ways, because these people that are dying from these like vaping issues, it's not vaping itself that is the issue, it's what they're vaping. They have been buying black market THC cartridges that are cut with an extra solution to make the oil thicker. So banning legal products is only going to drive up black market sales.
Welcome to the gun debate.
What was that?
Welcome to the gun debate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'm not totally for guns, but only as long as it's within very strict rules, within a very intimate background check.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on hold for just a second here. I just want to let you know how this works. So when we have these parts of the podcast, this segment, she's allowed to rant for as long as she needs to, usually between 5 and 10 minutes, and we are not allowed to interject until she says she's done.
I am new. I apologize.
Oh no, you're totally good, man.
So I want to make sure. You weren't here when we actually made that decision, so I want to make sure that you know how this is going to work.
Now I do.
When you're reading your hate mail, we can't interrupt while you're telling people to go fuck themselves.
All right.
All right, so continue on, Miss Honey.
And the other thing I wanted to rant about was, hold on, I lost my train of thought for like 10 seconds. Okay, so like families in New York who are protesting their children not being allowed to go to school because they're not vaccinated. New York just passed this ban just after their, like, biggest hit of measles in decades, right? So, like, this preventable disease could have been avoided had these parents not believed these hoaxes about vaccinations. You know, like, oh my goodness. Okay, so, like, parents are believing, like, these internet websites saying that vaccines cause autism or some kind of, like, damage or whatever, even though they've been proven to be effective in several cases. And these families who are, you know, believing that vaccines cause autism, even though autism is a genetic disease, or sorry, I've been drinking, genetic disorder.
Okay.
And even so, like, people on spectrums, on the autism spectrum, like, they tend to be a lot more coherent and a lot more understanding of the world than we are as quote-unquote regular human beings. Like, I've noticed that people who are on the autism spectrum are a lot more in touch with the world than people who are quote-unquote normal. And so on and so forth. You guys can tune in with your opinions now.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with the vaping issue. And I think you're absolutely right that they have a couple hundred deaths in regards to black market merchandise or black market vaping cartridges. And obviously, yes, we need to go ahead and fix that situation very quickly. But the thousands upon thousands of deaths via school shootings, the gun debate, they can't manage to do anything. As a matter of fact, every time the gun debate comes up, they just bury their heads.
Well,
exactly.
Well, that's the thing. So, the way that they're going about it with the gun debate itself.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's start with vaping. All right. Now, this is something that when it comes to, yes, there have been vaping materials out since the 70s, but vaping has become a trend recently. Now, we already have 10 deaths within the past 13 years of vaping being a thing. Now, 100% it is...
You have 480,000 deaths from cigarettes, though, but that shit's still being pushed like it's fucking cotton candy.
But what they say with that is that that's something that happens over time, and there are still people who smoke cigarettes who don't develop anything.
Right.
So, you know, if you have something... Now, I don't agree with this whole ban the vaping thing at all, but I'm just kind of putting it from an outside source.
That's another thing. They cannot ban vaping without voting on it, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Right. And, you know, so but what it comes down to is you have 10 deaths that came within a 13-year process. You know, it's kind of, let's nip it in the butt now and perfect it. But once again, it's not the legal product that's doing that. It's I want to say it's some sort of vitamin A or vitamin D additive that they were adding into the liquids itself.
I'm pretty sure it was a vitamin E solution oil that was being added to make the oils thicker.
Yeah, which in
or at least
turn
that's what I read in different articles.
So which in turn it's actually making the lungs not work, and that's how the people are dying. Now, that's a black market product.
Right.
Regular vaping products, Juuls, all sorts of things like that.
The stuff they're trying to ban.
The things that they are trying to ban is not the issue. And that's why, you know, I'm sorry to cut you off then when I brought it to bring it to the gun debate.
Right.
Because guns are bad. Guns are bad in the wrong hands.
Guns are bad. People are bad.
Yeah, guns are bad in the wrong hands.
We need more in-depth background searches. We need more in-depth fucking...
Yeah, because
it's not even...
protocols towards people who are trying to buy weaponry.
Right, and you have jail. Yeah, in jail, you're not allowed... Like, guns, very hard to come by. I don't think there's been, like, a jail shooting from, you know, like, a gun being brought into the jail itself. But violent people find a way to do violent things. So even if you were to take those away, they're still making shivs to stab people, to murder people.
My feel is this, okay? Now,
humanity will always find a way.
Mm-hmm. We are an evil race.
When we're talking about the legal gun debate, people actually going out and getting weapons, I think that it should be handled like the registration to your car is handled. That basically, if your car is mishandled, it's considered a deadly weapon. Mm-hmm. Basically, you could hurt somebody. You drink and drive, you can kill somebody. That being said,
it's heavy machinery.
Yeah. I think that you should be required to go through a yearly psychological evaluation to be able to keep and maintain your guns. Because you could be perfectly sane at one moment, and then you have some psychological event that happens to you that traumatizes you, and then you're...
Exactly.
Right, and there are back doors. I get some of the debates when it comes to guns themselves, because there are backdoor ways to go where you can go to. Well, first of all, pretty much anywhere you can find a gun. I mean, yeah, it's illegal. The VIN number might be scratched off, but you can find a gun in just about any city. But if you were to go to, a lot of people were upset when it came to the going to the conventions. And, just signing off on a gun right there, without filling out the proper paperwork. A lot of people were upset about that.
There's a lot of way to get black market weaponry, too. There's plenty of ways to do that.
There's plenty of ways. And, but once again, it's kind of like bring it to the war on drugs.
Right.
Okay? What happened when they got rid of alcohol?
There was prohibition. The Prohibition era actually spawned underground clubs. And they were bootlegging alcohol.
Which was an illegal substance, but
which is exactly what's happening with the vaping.
The people had wanted it, So you have the vapes, and it's the THC vapes, which are really what it is. If you get the THC vape from a medical marijuana shop, you're fine.
Right.
But, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can make oil.
The people that you're buying it from off the street.
Right. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry can make oil.
And in all honesty, there's some places that you can't even trust some of the vendors.
Exactly.
Right. You don't want to go to Foods Plus to get friggin' CBD oil. They used to sell bath salts. They were mad when that happened. They used to sell the bath salts, and then after the Miami Face Eater event, they ended up putting a sign up like, "Do not ask us for bath salts." And my buddy, first thing he did when he walked in the store, he's like, "You guys got bath salts?" And the guy's like, "Get out."
Oh no, I was there when a shop in New Hampshire got raided for selling bath salts. It was insane.
Yeah, but once again, that's a normal substance that was used for immoral purposes.
Exactly.
And it's like alcohol. You have a couple of drinks, enjoy it with your friends. You said that you were having a couple of drinks. Yeah, 100%. You have. Sorry, I'm a talkative person. If you haven't noticed,
everything is okay in moderation.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
weaponry is okay in moderation.
Not everything.
Yeah. Yeah, rape is okay in moderation. Absolutely not.
No bueno.
Except for an escape. Sam goes to Helltown. Well, Hell goes to Frogtown.
This was actually a moment of contention. If you actually go back and watch the beginning of our live broadcast, the movie that we just watched had a moment that was all no bueno in it. That we were just like, this is all rape. It's government-sanctioned rape.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because there's X amount of fertile women in the world. There's X amount of fertile men.
Okay, so we're gonna move on from the gun debate because honestly, we could yap about that for hours on end.
All right, so there was the vaping. What was the secondary?
So the second one is I'm just gonna say this right now. Fuck the anti-vaxxers. We do not need another plague just because they don't want to vaccinate their children because they're scared because something came up on not IMDb but WebMD, and they came up with some hoax article that said, oh, by the way, that may cause autism. It's not going to cause autism. No, it's not altering your genetic structure. It is putting away a disease that nobody wants in the world.
Now, I have multiple things to say about this.
The New York governor just recently passed a law stating that students cannot attend school unless they have been vaccinated.
Perfect. Perfect.
If they don't reach that vaccination deadline by 14 days after school starts, then their students cannot attend school. And there have been hundreds of parents who are flipping the fuck out, protesting, and saying that it's against their religious rights. for not allowing their students,
homeschool your kid,
children to attend school because they decided not to vaccinate.
Well, you know what?
Homeschool your kid.
New York just got hit with one of the biggest measles outbreaks in decades.
Let me just say to those folks, the religious zealots who don't want to vaccinate their children, there's homeschooling for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that, and by the fucking way, religion has no goddamn place in medicine. Period. Point blank. End of goddamn story.
But when it comes to your people's religious freedom, all right,
religious freedom is a thing, but religion has no place in medicine because there are medicines that are capable of healing a person, but someone's fucking.
But my God will heal me.
And it's bullshit.
But my God will heal me.
Medicine and your religion won't allow it. That is some fucking bullshit.
That's the thing, is that a lot of these I don't want to shit on an entire religion there, but there's some religious folks that fully believe that the only healing that they need is from God, and that they do not need to go to doctors, they don't need to go to physicians, they don't need to get vaccines, they don't need to have anything done to them, because it is God's will what happens to them. If they get the measles, or their children get the measles, or they get polio, or whatever the hell they're going to get because they didn't vaccinate their children, they believe it's the will of God.
But think of it this way, okay? God made man.
It only goes so far. It's a placebo. It's to make people feel better about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
But in reality, they know deep down that their child needs, or their loved one, or whoever the fuck, themselves personally, needs that kind of medicine to get better, and they don't want to believe in science.
I contest
because science is quote unquote the devil.
That deep down, the people that are not vaccinating their children, deep down, I don't think they know. I really believe they are truly delusional to the point that they think that if their child gets measles, it's just to make them stronger. Or if they get debilitating polio, it's just to make their child stronger.
That's some Dwight from The Office bullshit.
But when it comes down to it, all right, and here's the big thing about religion. Okay, this is a book that has been rewritten multiple times by different people to fit their own agenda. And not for nothing, let's put it in this aspect of God being real. Okay, now, let's say God started the plague as a trial for man. You know, we clean that up.
To clean it up.
Okay. Now, he doesn't want us to stay stagnant as a people. He wants us to advance as a people. He's okay with us, building technology, advancing, making buildings, medicine, the whole nine. He put these things on Earth for us to use. Okay, just because science has figured out a way to put plant A and plant B together to make penicillin, like these different types of mold, just because somebody figured out that that's going to make penicillin, and now you don't get the drip anymore. I'm sorry.
That have been God's will in the first place?
Yeah,
exactly.
Their eyes?
So yes, God may give your child measles for a specific reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? To give them a trial, for them to be strengthened themselves. Maybe, they'll find a better cure in the future. That specific person could do that. But the thing is you not allowing them to take something that God gave us the ability to do, which is make medicine.
Right.
Then you're killing yourself and your kids, and that's neglectful. I'm sorry, that's super neglectful. So I don't care how many people decided to get measles because, no, you guys are fucking stupid.
Exactly. Another thing, even if God really did exist, he gave us free will, right? That's like a thing that the Bible says. I studied the Bible for fucking 18 years. I know about this shit. Even if God really did give us free will, all of these fucking diehard Christians who are anti-abortion and anti-vaccination and anti-this, that, whatever medicine, God gave us free will for a reason. If he will not decide for us, what the fuck makes other humans think they can?
And a lot of this stuff is literally these religious zealots using their religion to justify their ignorance
and to make money, because the religion itself is
fucking Joel Osteen.
I hate to say it, it's kind of the biggest scam out there.
What was that again?
Joel Osteen.
Okay.
That runs that massive church down in fucking, what is it, Florida?
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But you have him,
During
but then
the hurricane, he had to get asked by the fucking state to allow people into his church, even though he has the biggest fucking church in this fucking country.
and it's not God's will to allow people in there because they don't pay.
During the fucking hurricane because he wasn't getting paid for it.
It's things like that disgust me, because there was a colony in Waco, Texas. This happened a few years ago. This is me going into like my conspiracy shit, but there was like I'll call it a community down in Waco, Texas.
Yep.
Where they lived off the land. They did their own water. They owned the land, so like they didn't have to pay taxes outside.
It was a commune.
Yeah, and the people just lived together. And they were killed by our government.
Okay.
They were murdered by our government because we didn't follow their specific rules. They didn't follow their specific rules.
Okay.
What they did is they put it as a religious cult, I believe is what they put in the news, was rated. And it wasn't. If you heard about that beforehand, there was nothing religious cult about it. It was come live here, do your part. Nobody has to pay anything. You know what I mean? If you sell something, you make the money. There's no taxes on it. You live.
Right.
And that was it. That's not a religious cult to me.
That's a commune. Basically, so that wasn't a religious cult. That would have been by American standards, it would be considered communist or socialist. That whole setup.
My bad, by the way, Joel Osteen wasn't in Florida. He was in Houston, Texas.
Ah, okay.
During Hurricane
that was
Harvey.
Was that church that was almost the size of a stadium?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly what it was.
And it's like the will of God isn't to allow random people into your place because they're not paying.
Exactly. His exact words were, "This state didn't ask us to be a shelter." No, they shouldn't have to ask you. You're a fucking church. You should open your doors to people in need.
No,
churches are considered a shelter.
Your fucking agenda.
There are definitely religious people out there who every single dollar that hits that church goes directly to other people for goodwill.
Right. And
they're there to help. They have soup kitchens. The people who work for them, they're barely scraping by as is. They have 9-to-5s and they put most of their money into it. And that's the type of religion that we need in this world, where you're helping other people, not, oh, my God told me this and your God told you that, but my God's dick's bigger than your God's dick, so let's fight. It's terrible. I hate the way that this world is becoming, and I'm sticking through it. So, but sometimes it's like, if it gets any worse, like where they're taking our rights away, they're taking our children's rights away. They had that stupid little girl that put the rant up there, but it's like there are so many other things that you could be ranting about.
Well, the girl that was that's bringing kids together against climate change.
There's so many more problems than climate change. I'm sorry.
That's a big problem too. Let her focus on her problem. She's doing good.
No. I'm gonna cut you off there because Greta Thunberg is doing a lot for the world.
She's an amazing kid.
I honestly, I only saw like two minutes of it. I didn't pay any real attention.
Well,
so
you only saw 2 minutes of it.
Right, I'm speaking ignorantly here.
Traveling all over the world to spread knowledge about climate change, and which is becoming a massive issue, and people aren't actually paying any attention to it because it's on the back burners, because they think that it's not gonna hit us as hard as it's going to.
So you know what?
The ice caps are melting. Africa's burning a lot more than the fucking Amazon was.
I'm gonna stop you there for just a minute, Miss Nico. I think I had a little bit of a brainstorm here. Mm-hmm. I want you to. So next week I think we're both going to be here. You're gonna be here for the next week's podcast, right?
I should be. Yeah.
You should be.
So yes.
Okay. I think that we should have a small debate about this subject.
I'm down.
I think we're going to go ahead and talk about Greta's speech and all the folks that are basically behind her and all that ridicule that she had to deal with, and basically all the shit that hit the fan. I think that would be a fun little segment. We'll let you do your rant next week, and then we'll get right into that.
Absolutely.
I'm a master debater.
I'm sure you are.
I believe it. I'm a massive get upsetter.
Yeah, okay. Yes, yeah, there you go. We discussed that last week. The whole honey be kind thing is mostly
because
because
about things super easy.
because sometimes she gets in on a rant, and sometimes people have to approach her. Honey, be kind.
Be kind.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for for calling in. I appreciate your being here, even though you're not here.
No problem.
And I'm glad we could get your rant done for the week. And I'm going to go ahead and Omar is actually doing a podcast segment for us as a recording. So the next portion is all recorded. There's going to be no rebuttal from us. And when we come back, it is going to be the pitch storm portion of our podcast. And I thank you very much. Go ahead and listen to Omar's segment for the podcast.
Hey, peace, everybody. Hope everyone's doing great this weekend. This is Omar from Cinematic Anarchy with this week's Soundtrack Anarchy. We're going to be reviewing a soundtrack for the time period of the movie we're reviewing this week. In this case, a soundtrack for the 1988 film Hairspray. A great movie with several powerful messages to it. The soundtrack of the movie, the time frame in which the movie is based on is the 60s, early 60s. We have a lot of great songs from that era, a lot of rock and roll, R&B for the era. And basically, the main song of the movie was made especially for the film, the song Hairspray by Rachel Sweet, including backing vocals from the great legendary Debbie Harry, the still beautiful Debbie Harry from Blondie. All the notable songs on those, you have The Madison Time by the great Ray Bryant combo band, led by the great legendary Ray Bryant. Also, Foot Stomping by the Flares, Shake a Tail Feather by the Five Dude Tones, You'll Lose a Good Thing by Barbara Lynn. Mostly dance songs, as you remember the movie. If any of you all have watched it, the movie circles around a show, a dance show, kind of a American Bandstand, which was a real show that existed in the Baltimore area in that time. And most of those songs are really, R&B, rock and roll songs. Great music, very well rounded soundtrack. There were songs that appeared in the film that never made it to the soundtrack. Notably, for example, some Chubby Checker songs like Let's Twist Again. Notably, Deo by the great legendary Pia Zadora. Train to Nowhere by the Champs, personal favorite from that movie, among others. If you like that time period in music, early to mid 60s, you're nostalgic about that era in rock and roll and R&B records, dancey, style music, R&B and rock and roll records for that era, you definitely want to take a listen to that soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack. Also, another song that I really like on the movie that didn't make it to the soundtrack was Life's Too Short by the Lafayettes. Other than that, it was a great one. You want to take a listen if you're nostalgic for the time period and era in R&B and rock and roll music. A great movie. Also, you might want to check it out. A couple of the songs that were there that did make it to the soundtrack. Also, The Bug by Jerry Dahlman and the Nightcaps. To a lot of people, this may come as rarities because there weren't aren't songs that are on your top 60s lists or Billboard charts, really high up there, but great music, fun music. And because the movie's a lot about fun and having fun with it, I hope you enjoy the soundtrack. If you can take a listen, you can look it up as a full on YouTube. I haven't checked Spotify for that or Amazon Music or iTunes for that matter. Um, Last time I listened to it was on YouTube, and this week I searched it out on YouTube again in preparation for this week's soundtrack Anarchy. Um, it was basically very well put together and released by MCA Records. And it was basically rock and roll, traditional pop, rhythm and blues type songs. Again, fun dancing record. And you had the other version of it that came out when the musical came out, was, basically the original Broadway cast recording. They're singing songs from the musical, the Broadway musical. I never saw the Broadway musical, so I can speak to whether or not it were the same songs sung by the cast. That's one I probably should look into now. I read about it prior to this podcast. I'm gonna do some research on it for my own knowledge. But great soundtrack overall. If you're nostalgic for that 60s stuff, you're into that 60s, early 60s stuff. Um, and if you haven't watched the movie, I definitely recommend you watch it. You watch it. You will definitely enjoy it if you haven't. The music again in the movie is great. Um, the soundtrack is basically very focused and specialized in a specific time period. So there's really not a whole lot of extent to it, to where the variety of the music as far as the time frame of it goes. But overall, great soundtrack. I enjoyed all the music from the movie. Disappointed a little bit to see that some songs didn't make it to the soundtrack, mostly due to licensing and copyright, music industry politics and things of that nature. Didn't make it to the soundtrack. Would have been great if they would have, even if it would have made it a double album, because there was great music throughout the film, and that, in all fairness, should have made it to the soundtrack. But you know how sometimes that goes, and some conversation probably don't transpire at all parties involved will like it. So some music didn't make it to it, but you heard it first. If you want to look that up, look up the soundtrack. Songs that didn't make it to the movie, others. Chubby Checker had a few songs, actually, quite a few songs. He also had Limbo Rock. He had a Dancing Party, The Fly, Pony Time. You have Dee Dee Sharp with Gravy for My Mashed Potatoes. Do the New Continental by the Dovells. Songs about dances and stuff. Also, You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore. You have Hairspray 2007 soundtrack was put out, and Hairspray 2002 album from the Broadway musical. If you want to give it a check too, I know I will. As a self-professed music head, I will definitely check that out. Honestly, I haven't heard that, but soundtrack anarchy for this week, the soundtrack for the movie Hairspray. Run, go listen to that if you're into that 60s music. And if you don't know a lot about it and want to brush up on your knowledge from that musical era, who had great songs among the most popular and the least popular as well, you want to check that out. In the meantime, this is Omar signing off on Soundtrack Anarchy. Leave you back with Seth and Chris for this week's Hell Frog help comes to Frogtown. In the meantime, peace and hair grease. Much love, everybody. One.
All right, so that was Mr. Omar with the soundtrack portion of our podcast, Soundtrack Anarchy. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the Pitchstorm Pitch Fest that we so love, and we've kind of adapted to mostly the ending for our podcast when we're not doing trivia.
Pitchstorm!
I'm going to start singing again. More.
No, I'm not going to go that depth in the...
So our Pitchstorm setup for this evening, the idea here is an ensemble cast of young, sexy doctors, or ER doctors, who go undercover to infiltrate their favorite boy band. And it says here, can we give the main character a split personality that never gets old? So who are we giving the split personality? The lead to the boy band group or the lead of the sexy ER doctors?
The sexy ER doctors. I feel like the boy band group doesn't have to really be too much of... They don't have to be seen too often.
Right.
Like you could see posters, you know what I mean? Kind of like a quick like snippet of like them on the news, like you'd be like, "Oh my God, did you see?" And, like just like the main rocker, just like, "Yeah, we'll be in Seattle, November 31st. Tickets are sold out." Like this is the biggest show of the year.
Okay, so first we've got to go ahead and get our sexy ER doctors. Now I say it should be a mixture of females, males.
Mm-hmm. George
right.
Clooney. He's
okay.
the head ER doctor. And
so these are older ER doctors.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like George Clooney should be the one with the split personality. He is an older man.
Okay.
His split personality is a young one.
Okay, so he sometimes feels like he's 18. So like his split personality is an 18 again kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the rest of the cast could be like the residents of the ER.
It's his idea to go and infiltrate the boy band.
Yeah.
Or
but the
basically break into the stadium where they're going to be playing and try to get to meet them.
But the thing is like, nobody knows he has a split personality. He doesn't even know he has a split personality.
He just sometimes acts like his younger self and sometimes acts like his older self.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, either way, he's an outstanding doctor. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that will change him from being the greatest doctor in the world.
60-year-old George is just as good as 18-year-old Georgie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Sometimes he's like, "Call me Georgie." And he's like, "Yeah, all right."
I truly feel that George Clooney is really missing out on some better comedic roles. Like, I'd really like to see him just go nuts. Really. So this, I think, would be kind of perfect. I would like to see him just go like almost Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever kind of nuts. Because Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face was fantastic.
Yeah.
Never seen him do anything like that since. Or before, for that matter. So, okay, we got George Clooney as the head of the sexy ER doctors. So now we should have like a middle-of-the-road cast. Like some young, some kind of middle-aged.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like if you have like more middle age, it kind of takes away from George Clooney's character.
Okay, so younger. So we're talking like
they're all residents
like or trainees. Really,
yeah, they're all fresh out of med school. This is their learning hospital.
Okay, so let's see. I really would like to have my
guest
phone
appearance
for some
Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
You want
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
I want to say. Have you seen Future Man?
Yes.
The lead actor from Future Man is Josh Hutcherson.
Yes.
I think he would be perfect.
He
as
could
one
be
of
them.
Okay. I want to go slightly older. One other guy. Only one other guy I want in there, and that is just a little bit older. He's kind of halfway between Clooney and Josh, and that's Breckenmeyer, who actually played a boy band member in Josie and the Pussycats. He was John in the Garfield movie. Okay? I think he's fantastic as a comedic actor. He's done some seriously funny shit.
Yeah, and this is definitely going to be a comedy.
And I think that he needs to get back to doing the seriously funny shit. Stop trying to do serious stuff. Yeah. You don't need to be John from Garfield anymore. And those are sound effects provided to you by the local Haverhill Police Department. Hello, Haverhill Police Department. Okay. So now we have to come up with the 2 to 3 females to be part of the sexy doctors group.
All right. So Chick who played Harley Quinn.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Okay. I say, is it Issa Fisher? She was in Wedding Crashers, the redhead in Wedding Crashers, and she was also Mary Jane in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Issa Fisher. Sorry.
I'm not good with the names, but
I'm going to stick
her.
with that. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Call me.
And let's have. They don't all have to be sexy.
No.
All right,
Let's what's it? Mayim Bialik? Blossom. She's also known as Sheldon's girlfriend on.
Okay, yeah. So we could do her.
She can be the one that absolutely geeks out every time the band is even mentioned. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely geeks out. Another girl who I would like to just see go nuts because she's played some kind of close-knit roles. Nothing that really requires her to go crazy. You know, in spite of the fact that she was Sheldon's girlfriend on Big Bang Theory. You know, nothing truly crazy. All right.
There's one more that I want in there. I can't think of her name. I just love her. Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Oh yeah, that would work too.
Yeah, and she's like the closet. Like, yeah. I guess we could go.
I want to say that like for the first part of the movie, she plays like the quiet one.
Yeah.
She's really quiet, and then just something happens. Something snaps in her.
Well, once they get out of work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she's a completely different animal.
No. I don't even say that. I say that she's, like, unlike her other roles, like, she's used to playing some seriously straight up, like,
weird,
hardcore verbal roles. I want to see her play something almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen Pitch Perfect. There's an Asian girl in Pitch Perfect who's just very quiet. Very, very quiet. Doesn't talk very much at all. Very quiet. And I want to see her do something like that, but I want to see just something snaps and she goes nuts halfway through the movie.
Like, she actually listens to the band for the first time.
Right. She's never heard of this band, or she refuses to listen to boy band music altogether. I'm just not interested in this. And they drag her along.
Yeah, like, you have to come. You have to come. And she's like, no, I don't really want to go. But she has, like, a super crush on George Clooney character.
Right.
His younger side. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's
when he's being the younger Georgie.
Yeah. And like he like, call me Georgie, and like, you know, like nobody
Let's
really
just say that. Let's just make him George in the movie too.
Yeah.
I like Georgie.
Yeah, like, but nobody really understands. Like, sometimes he's just like this cool dude. The other times he's just like the most strict asshole person like ever.
It's like he's bipolar. Oh, you don't even fucking know.
Yeah, like, little do you know, like, he's like, you know, like, sometimes he's like, yeah, call me Georgie, and other times he's like, it's Dr. George Myers, you know?
So now we need our boy band members.
Good Charlotte. We're just gonna go with Good Charlotte.
Good Charlotte. Really?
Either that or Simple Plan.
Why are we gonna make them, like, just make them up as, like, kind of the typical sort of One Direction kind of boy band?
Yeah, but we're not. But we're going rock.
I say we get a mixture. We get a mixture of, like, some of the, like, you get, like, Jared Leto, and you get. I'm just saying. Well, okay, you don't like. What about what's his name? Madden. Benji Madden.
I don't know what Benji Madden is.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of a few guys, like the lead guitarist from Fall Out Boy. You get him.
Yeah.
Hell, take the lead guitarist and the lead singer from Fall Out Boy, the lead singers from Good Charlotte and Simple Plan.
We have Will Ferrell play the guy who he looks like.
Huh? Will Ferrell? Play who? Will Ferrell should be the manager. Should be the boy band's manager.
No, because he looks just like the Red Hot Chili Peppers guy.
Really?
Yeah, Chad Smith.
He should play Chad Smith like a drummer in the movie.
Like, he should play as if he's
So
like,
this
I'm
is
sorry,
like
Chad Smith, we're taking you out.
This is like a boy band with a full ensemble rock band behind them.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have musicians all populated by, like,
That's the two of them together.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
they,
he looks
they
like
did a whole skit, like, of how they look together. I guess when the first time Will Ferrell ever saw him, he was like, "You're an attractive man," like, you know, because they look so much alike, you know, like, he just had nothing to say, and then, like, they kind of have, like, a running gag about it. So, like, I feel like you should have Chad Smith in there.
Right.
But he is, like... Let's have him as, like, the janitor at the hospital tagging along. And then we have Will Ferrell playing Chad Smith.
Like, Will Ferrell's playing Chad Smith. He's the janitor at the hospital tagging along. That partway through the movie, he chloroforms Will Smith and takes over.
Whoa, Will Smith, Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, not Will Smith. Wow, what the fuck did I just do?
And we did what...
My brain skipped the track there. Not Will Smith. I know they have the same first name, but Christopher, they're not the same people. Have you ever seen Will Smith and Will Ferrell in the same room? They could be. You never know.
We have whitewashed this movie a little bit. So let's add some color.
Okay. So I say Donald Faison. Donald Faison, he plays Turk in Scrubs.
Yeah,
throwing some names at you. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. Like, I
and Breckenmeyer and him are familiar with each other. They've actually been in the same movie. They were in Clueless together.
All right, so then we have him, who the manager should be. Him, who's the guy from In the Name of King? Drawing a blank on him.
Oh, we just watched this movie too, just a little bit back.
We just reviewed it.
Are you talking? Which one are you talking about though? You're talking about the Knight.
Yeah.
The Knight, I'm not entirely sure what his name was, but I know who you're talking about. And you're looking up the name right now, the wonder of Google.
Brian J. White.
He
should be like the manager of the band. You know what I mean? And it's...
I don't say the manager. So the manager's got to be some kind of... He doesn't have to look the part. He could be like some kind of nerdy, almost banker dude. This guy right here, he is the bodyguard. He is the guy that protects the band.
Well, it protects everybody else from the band, because I feel like this rowdy band that we put together,
he's basically trying to keep the band out of trouble the entire movie.
So he's their PR.
Basically. Yeah, he's basically trying to keep their noses clean. Every time they almost get into a situation, it's like, no, put the cocaine away, you know. We don't need this kind of press right now. You guys are like... America's band, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, that they're America's band. Like, you know, let's say that we take one aspect from like all these major bands, you know what I mean, and then they form one band. You know what I mean? So it's like it's the show of the century.
And he keeps reminding them. Like there's this one video that's out there that like almost destroyed them, right? And it's like some ludicrous fucking video, like because they're supposed to be like America's bands, America's sweethearts, and they had this massive coke binge. There's like a fucking Russian flag on the back wall, and they're doing all sorts of fucking weird dog and pony shit.
I say this would make it a very like funny scene in the video.
Yeah,
it's Chad Smith. Like, partying with them. They all confuse the two of them at one point. And it's Chad Smith just partying it up. Like, Will Ferrell is, like, not, like, nowhere to be found. But they're like, come on, man. And he's, like, so starstruck that he's with them. And then he just parties, like, the hardest that he can. And, like, he's skeptical to go to the thing. He's like, no, I don't know if I can go, guys.
I have the perfect idea. So there's a subplot in the movie. To hell with what I said about getting Will Ferrell getting chloroformed. I think that the first time he sees the janitor, Will Ferrell immediately gets this whole Prince and the Pauper kind of idea going in his head. Like, he's been stuck with this fucking band, cleaning up after their shit forever. He's never the front guy. He is not even in the scene. He's just playing drums in the background. And this guy's enamored by the band and everything that's going on. He's like, we should switch places. They'll never fucking know.
He's like, but I don't know how to play the drums.
Don't worry, neither do I. Check it out. And he shows them that they're automatic drums. They just play themselves.
Yeah.
Just press this sequence for this particular thing. Somebody else makes the music for me. I'll give you his number.
You know,
it's like the Milli Vanilli of drummers.
maybe after the night of partying, he ends up in the hospital, and that's how they all get the tickets. Will Smith. Now you got me doing it. Will Ferrell's character ends up in the hospital, and he sees him, gets the Prince and the Pauper idea from him. And, you know, like, he's like, all right, like, we're gonna set, like we have to do this. Like, I want to live a normal life. And, you know, Chad Smith is like, no, like, I don't think I could do it, man. And
so I think, like, here's my feeling is that, like, maybe, like, after the party, he ends up in the hospital. They switch places, whatever. I feel like maybe Will Smith's character for some reason had
Will
VIP pass. Will Ferrell. I said Will Smith again, didn't I?
Well, if you're yeah, you did. If
We need to have Will Smith in the movie just because I keep fucking up and using his name.
Yeah, if you're part of the band,
I think we have Will Smith do a cameo in the movie, reprising his Fresh Prince persona.
he would never.
Come on, why not?
He's embarrassed of like his
former self?
Yeah, him being on Fresh Prince.
They're doing a movie.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing not with him.
Yeah, okay.
But they're doing a Fresh Prince movie.
But that's the thing. He was like the reason why he even did Fresh Prince was because he was so like he was going bankrupt, and he had the opportunity, and he had to play a character that he didn't really feel comfortable playing, kind of an idiot.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was his starting role, and everybody loved it, and he did the best that he can with it. But nowadays, he's like, sometimes I wish I never got the part.
You saw one of his first roles. Have you ever seen? Have you seen it actually?
No, I don't
6
think
Degrees of Separation, where he plays a homosexual grifter.
No, I do not.
You should watch that movie. Fantastic movie. I don't think Will Smith's played gay since, but actually, as a breakout role, I had been used to watching him on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and watching that movie, I was just absolutely shocked the first time I watched it. I was like, wow, really?
That's the
Okay.
thing. He had the potential to do things like that.
And he was stuck doing that.
He was typecasted as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But if you ever get to see that movie, Six Degrees of Separation, watch it. I think you'd actually really like it, because you like dramatic movies.
Yeah. I watched Toy Story and I cried.
Have you watched Toy Soldiers?
Yeah.
Not the Toy Soldiers movie with the animatronic toys.
Oh, then.
But the Toy Soldiers movie about the kids in the military academy.
No, I have not.
They get trapped in the military academy and have to fight their way out because of terrorists.
All right, 6 what?
6 Degrees of Separation. So let's get back into our movie. So I keep saying Will Smith instead of Will Ferrell, and I mean Will Ferrell instead of Will Smith because my brain is about 5 days of work week fried right now, and I'm working on this podcast with you after having fried my brain at a computer for 5 days. You were there, you understand.
Yeah, I took him. Ended up getting out of work at 4:00. I was supposed to be there at 12 today.
Yeah.
And not 2.
Did you walk here from your house?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I thought you were down there. I didn't realize that you were... Oh, jeez. I would have tried to send Ren out to get you.
Well, you see, what happened, I got out at 4, you were still at work, and I wasn't going to sit around for an hour, so I was like, all right, I got a ride to my house. I laid down for a little bit. I was only meant to lay down for like a half hour, and then I woke up.
You never just lay down for a little bit. You haven't learned this yet?
No, I didn't.
No, you lay down. I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute, 3 hours later.
At night, I don't sleep.
48 hours later, you know.
But so I ended up,
Well, you're an insomniac. Well, you're more of a night bird than an insomniac, because you can definitely sleep when there's daylight out.
Yeah.
You're a fucking vampire.
So.
Okay, so we've got our boy band. We've got our bodyguard. I feel the manager should be played by oh god, now what's his name? From Zombieland. What is his name? Zombieland, he was Lex Luthor.
Okay, yeah, no, fuck.
Jesse Eisenberg, right? Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah, Eisenberg.
I believe that's his name.
Eisenberg, Jesse.
He's actually been in some movies that I love too, but that being beside the point, I think he should be their manager. Right, and he's kind of that he's kind of that slicked back, swift talking kind of guy the entire movie, and he's constantly trying to cut deals for the next thing over here. He's trying to bring the guys. He's the guy that the bodyguard dude is constantly trying to defend the band against. Like, stop bringing the prostitutes to the set; they're trying to practice. Stop bringing them coke; they need to focus. You know. So he's like the solid yin to Jesse Eisenberg's fucking crazy yang.
Yeah. And at this point,
he just wants them happy and making money. The other guy is trying to say, well, I understand you want them happy and making money, but they're only going to make money if they're not dead under a prostitute after snorting a line of coke.
And at this point, Chad Smith is like living it up, like he's partying hard, like whenever there's prostitutes or anything there, he's like, yeah. And then you have Will Ferrell, who's like the janitor, and that's the thing. Someone's like, oh, I can't believe we're not going to make it. And the janitor's just like, well, I have tickets. And he's trying to get in good with the normal people. So he offers them the VIP tickets.
So Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so he's got the VIP passes. They're supposed to infiltrate. So this is supposed to be like getting behind the scenes sneakily. They're not supposed to just get passes. They have to steal the passes
from him.
So he doesn't give them.
Yeah, he does not take them. Yeah, they do not want. He does not want to give it to them because he doesn't want to go.
Right. He don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, and they're all like, no, we got to do it. So they make up a small subplot to steal the passes. And they end up stealing them, and he ends up going there later, they stole my passes, guys, what the hell, doesn't turn them in, but just walks up, and they're all like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Chad Smith. And it's
so I got that Neil Patrick Harris thing. I want him to do a cameo, but I think the funniest thing for him to be doing this whole thing, right, is I think that he meets the band. He's one of those guys with the VIP passes, and he gets behind the scenes and he meets the band, and he acts like he's this crazed fan at first, but when he gets to meet the band, he walks up to them one by one. You slept with my wife. You slept with my wife. You slept with my wife. You slept with me and didn't call the next morning.
Yeah, it is. That one's Chad Smith, who's just like, what?
Wait, what?
You know what I mean? I don't even know you. And it's like, bro, he ended up in the hospital and changed places.
And he's like, I know you, Dude, wait a minute. He doesn't say anything. He's just like, I don't know what's going on. Just play it,
He's like, you have that freckle on your butt cheek. And he's like, we really do look alike. And he's like, what? You know what I mean?
We look that alike? Jeez, what else is the same?
So, then they finally, get in there with, the VIP passes, which, at first, they go bring the VIP passes, there's no way that you got these. You guys don't know Chad Smith.
Now, these VIP passes are actually, if you look at them, these are set for other people, and actually the VIP passes correspond with people on this list, and you're not on this list.
Yeah, and that's when they're all disappointed. You know what I mean? At this point, Grumpy George is back. You know what I mean? He's just like, "What are we doing here?" And blah 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 blah. This and that.
What are we even doing here? What the hell's going on?
And then at that point, Will Ferrell comes up and he's like, "You guys really wanted to see it this bad?" And they're like, "Chad, what are you doing? Did we just put you out on stage?" You know what I mean? Because they look so much alike, and he's just like. He's like, yeah, we'll get to that after. These are my guests. Let them in.
Right.
And that's how they finally infiltrate the thing. These passes have to be stolen. You know what I mean?
And it turns out that the Aubrey Plaza character, this is why she snaps. The Aubrey Plaza character was actually dating one of the band members, and she's so pissed at them, she takes the band hostage on stage.
Fuck you guys.
Just a fucked up twist. Just for the near the end of the movie. Just this fucked up. Nobody's expecting... Well, they might now. If they actually make this movie, we've given it away, haven't we? We spoiled the movie.
We spoiled the movie on our spoilers-based podcast.
We spoiled the movie that's never been fucking made. So yeah, she just takes the band hostage on stage,
And she's like, I love you, and I've lived my whole life trying to impress you, and you toss me away like a sack of meat. And he for him, it's just a matter of I lost your number. I've been looking for you myself. You know what I mean? So he I've gone to that bar every day, and she's like, I stopped going to that bar because you stopped calling me.
She's like this transplant from Sweden or something. She moved to the United States to stalk the fuck out of this guy because he slept with her and never called back.
Yeah.
Right. She literally got a job at a hospital and blah blah. She basically moved her entire life to stalk this guy. And he's like, I've been looking for you my entire life.
But he loves her too, you know what I mean? And they start making out on the stage.
They start making out, and she accidentally shoots George. In the heat of the moment, just...
How'd you get a gun on stage? We have VIP passes, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's good. Never mind, go ahead, shoot away.
Oh, well, how it ends up, she grazes George's arm. And at that point, he turns back into Georgie, and he's like, "Dude, that was awesome!" But as she's sitting out on the stage, Will Ferrell's character runs out and tackles her down, and that's how she ends up shooting him. You know what I mean? And then that's when they get to see the comparison between Will Ferrell's character and Chad, and they're like,
little confused.
And freaking Chad's like, And then Will Ferrell has to say like, oh no, like, you know, this is a friend of mine. We, you know, like I wanted some time off from the band, and you know, me and him look so uncanny and he explains like that.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I would let fucking Will Ferrell's character just melt into exile because he doesn't want anything to do with these fucking people anymore. Like, the rant that happens between Will Ferrell and Chad is just like him just saying, this guy does all this shit, this guy does all this shit, this guy does all this shit, and I can't fucking take it anymore. So what I want you to do is, you love this, you want to do this, you go do this. I'm going to give you all the tips and secrets. I can't play worth shit. I'm going to give you the number of the guy that does all my sets for me, and you are going to literally lip sync the drums.
And I am going to be a janitor.
Right, and he just becomes the janitor. At the end of the movie, they get back there, and it's literally just Will Smith pushing him off.
Smith again.
Will Smith. See, I'm telling you, I got Will Smith on the brain today. Fuck
Must
me.
be love on the
Will
brain.
Farrell just pushing him up down the hallway, and that's when the credits are rolling. You know, they're just pushing him up down he's pushing him up down the hallway.
But it's funny because we're having it that Will Ferrell is the actual rock star and Chad Smith is not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though it's the complete opposite.
Though, if you actually watch that battle of the drums, Will Smith can play the drums. Not as good as Chad
Will
Allen.
Smith again. Will Ferrell can play the drums. See, you did see the two of them.
So, you know, generally before the podcast, we will do a little bit of drinking. Today, I am fucking up royally without having drank a single goddamn thing.
He's food deprived. We've been holding out on his meal.
I've actually been on a diet for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you ever watch the live stream, I'm a big boy, and I have gone on a keto diet. And my body right now fucking hates me. It despises my existence and has been kicking my ass on a continual basis. I am exhausted. I am constantly hungry. You look like a hamburger right now. I would eat you if it wasn't for the fact that you're a human.
I'm a human burger.
Also, I don't eat other men. It's just a thing.
It's just a thing. 2019, but it's still.
I occasionally inappropriately stroke their elbows, but I don't eat men. It's just a life choice. I've made that choice. You know, I decided that early.
One day I just woke up and I was like, not eating men.
Yep. I'm not interested in eating men.
You know, I also I have my own little pitch for myself that I want to do.
Okay,
pitch storm, not related to the game.
Nothing
itself.
for that. Okay.
I want to do a movie where there's like the last straight man on Earth. So it's kind of reversing the role, like as being like, okay, so when you know, gay is starting to come out more,
right?
You know, they still had to hide it. You know what I mean? They hid it from their. They would start families. They would do all that. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, like 15 years into the future, and like it's like taboo to be straight. and
women only get impregnated by artificial insemination.
No, they choose like the man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They
like,
choose which gay guy they want to go with, you know?
So, like, they do that, and, like, it's at a bar, and they're like, oh, that guy likes you, why don't you go hook up with him? And it's like, no, I really, you know, I'm just tired, I just want to go home, and it's like being, like, one of the last straight people in a society.
That's pretty much all turned gay.
Yeah. You know, not that our world's leading up to that, but
that might be an interesting perspective. Just the last straight man on Earth.
You know, well, it's not so much that he's the last, but it's like so frowned upon, like he has to hide it from everybody. And then,
so now straight people are in the closet.
Yeah. So it's like a reversal, and then you know that's when you can have a straight pride parade. At that point,
I don't even know at that point it would be appropriate. You're just walking down the street by yourself.
Well, once you're being persecuted, you know, and he's not the last one, but he's, but you know,
you as a persecuted people, most persecuted people don't have parades. Sometimes the parades are held for them, which is completely against their will, and the witches will tell you that.
Yeah. But essentially, you know, it's finding love in a world that love is hard to find in.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know,
finding love in a world where love is not exactly made for you anymore.
Right.
You know, it's like, well, the entire world is loving a different way, and I love this way, and
you know, and it's like you'd get laughed at. It's like if you
know who you put in that role? You know who you put in that role? You put Ben Affleck in that role. You know why you put Ben Affleck in that role? Because for some fucked up reason, that dude has been in 2 movies where he has turned gay women straight. I don't know why. I don't know why Ben Affleck is the guy that turns gay women straight, but he did it in Chasing Amy, and he did it in that fucking movie Jiggly. And it's
I'd want a younger generation. You know what I mean?
I know. I was just saying. You put Ben Affleck in that role because Ben Affleck is apparently the magic stud that turns gay women straight, which is completely ludicrous.
You know, but that's the thing. It's not so much like, you know, women don't sleep with men. It's just like in their heads, like it's just something fun to do. There's no love there. You know what I mean? It's like when girls make out with other girls just because they're drunk. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that they're a lesbian. They just do it because they want to do it.
Right. So in this society, when you have to sneak off to straight bars.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like
you know, like if you got caught watching straight porn, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? So like,
man on woman, what the fuck are you watching, dude? You know,
it's like it's my kink, you know, and it's like bro, you're weird, you know, like so like I feel like that would be a really good story.
So Chris Colfer would be good in this movie.
Once again, I gotta look him up.
He is Kurt from Glee. If you've ever watched Glee,
Colfer.
You don't. Okay, so you don't know who that is right off the top of the.
No, I know Grant Gustin, but I could see that.
Grant Gustin, he's the guy from The Flash, right?
Yeah, I know him from Glee, but that's about it.
Yeah, and then I mean, you get those two. There's several characters that could play. I'd say Grant could play the last straight guy on Earth.
Yeah,
because he can kind of equally play both gay and straight.
Yeah, which he's not. The thing is, like, you have to fit into the society. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like, you're dressing flamboyantly, you're doing all these things, and you're not necessarily just because that's not your lifestyle, but it's everybody else's. You want to fit in. You know what I mean? So like, I could see him like trying to fit in and kind of looking like that, and then have like his best friend doesn't think any differently of him. His best friend knows, but nobody else does.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's it's kind of like his last.
His best friend's constantly trying to hook him up with other guys.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
are you sure?
Like he's accepting of it, but like he doesn't want to tell anybody. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, so he keeps trying to like put him in these situations.
So like the guy that's currently playing Spider-Man for this movie too.
Yeah. You can put him in there.
I'm trying to remember his goddamn name. Tom Holland.
I got him.
You know him right off the top of the... See, here's the thing. I've got a lot of names in my head, and every time I get a new name in my head, I push one out. And for some reason, I think Will Smith and Will Ferrell are the same fucking person.
Yeah, you don't see color. I get it.
I don't see color. A black man is a white man, and a white man is a black man. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
No, but that's honestly like that's something I'd like to put together. So if you want to write it with me, I feel like we could definitely get that going. I feel like it'd be a really good movie to watch, even if it's just like some sort of indie film. Even if we don't fill the roles and we find like just random people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think that kind of movie would be best filled with new people. Yeah. People that are not necessarily Hollywood.
No,
ready-made.
My one thing about this is, as great of the concept as it is, I don't want people to think that I'm anti-gay. That's not the purpose. The thing is that
I don't think that you should you got to handle it while not presenting any stereotypes.
Yeah.
So it cannot be like something that's just ridden with stereotypes. You know,
you go to the bar scene, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is my boyfriend. You know what I mean? It's just everybody.
It's treated like a regular relationship movie.
You know what I mean?
You know.
Yeah.
And well, that's the thing. If you as long as you treat it like it's a regular relationship movie, I mean, it's fine. You know, you're not setting out to offend people. You're just setting out to offer a alternative point of view, so to speak.
You know that just because, you do what you do doesn't mean I can't do what I do. You know what I mean? That's the moral of the story.
Right.
Which, it doesn't matter if you're gay or not. It doesn't matter if you're trans, anything like that. That's who you are.
Love is love. Period.
Right. And that's the thing. There's one chick there that is kind of in the same boat as him, but it's a little different for her. You know what I mean? And he's like,
so she's like bi. So she is
Yeah,
she has a girlfriend at the time, but she's definitely bi.
And, like, they like, hang out all the time.
She looks at guys on occasion, like, I wonder,
Yeah, and he's kind of friend-zoned. you know what I mean? You can throw him in the friend zone.
And she still doesn't realize he's straight.
Right, at all, because he doesn't come out and say it, because that's something that you would...
it's not something that would, in this particular society, be considered normal.
Yeah.
So, like you said, the straight men are closeted, so even the straight men... act as though they're not. They present like they're interested in guys.
Like, look at that dick. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you see that you can't approach it that way. You gotta.
Well, but have him
just like any other relationship, though. I mean, even a straight relationship, there's a lot of guys out there that are just looking at people as if they're their body parts.
Yeah, and and it's like he has had boyfriends before, but like they never took that step, you know what I mean? Like, they never had sex, and they held hands, they went to movies, but he never really approached it as like, I want this. It's like, this is something I have to do socially.
All right.
You know?
So I like where you're going with that.
And because that's what it was. Like, even for gay men back in the day, they had to, they would go on dates. I mean, there was, which movie is it? V for Vendetta, where they end up banning gay. You know what I mean? Like, if you were gay, you couldn't do that. So this man he's like, like a man like me needs to have pretty women come by every now and again to keep my stature as a straight man.
Right.
And like in his basement, and he had like the Quran, he had like the gay photos and everything, and he says at the end, you can't hide who you are, So like that's kind of like what it is, and like once in the end, once they like finally decide, like, this is it. Like, okay, let's say they get drunk and they hook up, and like, she's like, oh, I can't believe I did that, and he's happy about it, but he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to like pressure you or anything. And then they start realizing they have feelings for each other. Once she doesn't want to say anything, and he wants to, but he can't. And then in the end, they, she finally like realizes like love is love, and she comes out, you know what I mean? But they both come out like, like I have feelings for her, she has feelings for me, and everybody is accepting of it. Like, oh, like we're so proud
I'd
of
say
you.
I'd say you don't go that far with the movie. I say the ending of your movie is sort of like a walking off into the sunset kind of thing, where they both kind of profess their feelings to each other, and it kind of ends with like a scene of, okay, what kind of world we live in, where do we go from here?
And like they sit there and they hold hands and just walk down the street together.
Yeah, and that basically that's them coming out to the world. Is everybody's just passing by and they're walking down the street and people are just like, what the heck's going on? Everybody's turning their heads, kind of staring at them, and that's the ending of your movie. So
I like this.
I like that idea. Now that we put it here on the podcast, if you steal our ideas, we're gonna fucking gank you.
Right.
It's our idea.
This is mine and Chris's idea. We are going to write this movie.
This is the property of Cinematic Anarchy. Back the fuck off.
Back the fuck off. You misrespect my authority.
All right. So, that being the end of the podcast, anything else you'd like to say before we scoot off and into the sunset ourselves? Or the already set sun?
If you guys do... like that idea, give us some feedback, you know what I mean, of how you like that, any one of our pitch storms. If you like any of the ideas, we're willing to, at least start a script for it. You can throw in your input for it as well. We'd love it.
We are definitely always looking for co-conspirators, people that want to write with us, talk with us, and be on the podcast for that matter. So if you even have the slightest interest in any of those things, you can get in contact with us via Twitter, our Facebook page, or you can get in contact with us at cinematicanarchy@gmail.com. Leave us messages, or go on Anchor. You can actually go to the Anchor app, download the Anchor app, and you can leave us live messages. And that also goes for all the people that would like to send Zeph hate mail. We are looking for you to send Zeph hate mail. Send him all the hate that you can, because that is what his segment is going to be about. It is Everybody Hates Zeph. We want to get this up and rolling.
And at the end of the day, if you have enough hate to aim it towards a complete stranger, I will bear that hatred. And I will take all that hate and I will reflect it back to you with love.
with love. Oh, wow. You're going to be the love guru? Thank you for all that hate. Now I'm going to tell you why you should love yourself a little bit better than this. Because I don't know where the fuck that came from. You don't fucking know me.
And it's all, like, just negative content. Like, listen here, motherfucker.
And now, for the segment of love from Zeph. Fuck you!
yeah, my dick's little. What about it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It's average.
Oh,
just.
I'm not checking. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.